Hey engineers, I'm Connor, and it's time for another edition of Healthy Selfie. Today we'll be discussing what sugar is, the different names of sugar, the difference between added and natural sugars, the CDC's recommendations for limiting added sugar, and tips on how to limit added sugars. When most people think of sugar, they're thinking of table sugar, which is also called sucrose. But sugars is actually a broad category of easily digestible carbohydrates, so it comes in many different forms and goes by many different names. Other names and forms of sugars include, but are not limited to, glucose, dextrose, maltose, fructose, galactose, lactose, honey, coconut sugar, beet sugar, raw sugar, molasses, high fructose corn syrup, brown rice syrup, malt syrup, maple syrup, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You may have heard people differentiate between added and natural sugar and wondered what that means. Well, added sugars are any sugar that's added to food during production, and natural sugars are sugars which occur naturally in foods, such as fructose in fruit. Some people refer to things like honey and coconut sugar and raw sugar as natural sugars, but they have the same physiological effects on our body as any other sugar, and when added to foods are still considered added sugars. Natural sugars are what give things like fruit their sweet flavor, but you don't really need to worry about how much fructose is in this apple, because natural sugars, when found in whole foods, tend to be bound to fiber. Fiber is a carbohydrate that can't be digested by our bodies, and when it's present in food, it slows the rate at which we break down carbohydrates we can digest, which makes it a more level and maintained way for sugar to enter our bloodstream, which helps control blood sugar. You should eat 20 to 30 grams of fiber every day. Diets that are high in added sugars are associated with weight gain, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. So limiting the amount of added sugar you eat every day could be crucial for your health. Because sugars are digested quickly, they only provide short bursts of energy. If you want a more sustained level of energy while you're doing something important, like studying for a test, try choosing complex carbohydrates or foods that contain fiber, because these take longer to digest and provide more steady rates of sugar entering our bloodstream. The CDC recommends that we limit our added sugar intake to less than 10% of our daily calories. So for someone who eats 2,000 calories in a day, that's less than 200 calories from added sugar, or less than 50 grams. Want some tips on how to reduce added sugar? Well, the area you have the most control over is how much sugar you add to foods. So try choosing one sugar packet in that morning cup of coffee, or choosing a calorie-free sweetener such as stevia. Craving a piece of candy? Try an apple instead. It's a great, sweet way to treat yourself throughout the day, and the USDA recommends that we eat 2.5 servings of fruit each day. When making a food selection, always read the ingredients list and avoid foods which list sugar or one of its other names as one of the first 3 ingredients. Reducing your added sugar intake doesn't mean you need to give up everything. Studies have found that those who practice mindful eating eat less than their counterparts and don't feel a sense of deprivation when reducing their intake of sugary foods. You can learn more about mindful eating in MIT Physical Education's health and wellness courses, such as fitness and stress management, or online at mitpe.mit.edu. Alright engineers, thanks for watching. Remember, sugar comes in many different forms, so don't be fooled by names like honey and raw sugar. It's still sugar. Limit your added sugar consumption to less than 10% of your total daily calories. That's less than 50 grams for someone who eats a 2,000 calorie diet. Always read your nutrition label and avoid foods which list sugar or one of its other names as one of the first 3 ingredients. Okay, see you next time on Healthy Selfie. Interested in learning more? Check out mitpe.mit.edu for more health and wellness tips.